You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I am Ralph Brogden. Today's guest overcame some tremendous childhood abandonment and abuse and came out the other side and found self-love and empowerment by helping others and using gratitude. And so I think this story is so inspirational. It's so motivational because so many of you are listening now. You've come through similar experiences and you're turning your mess into a message. You have a purpose and a reason for the business that you're in. And for many of you, it's a helping business. It's coaching, it's consulting, it's healing, it's therapy, whatever your modality is. The idea is to overcome your challenges, turn your mess into your message, and then be able to help others with the same help that you have received. So today's guest is as I said, is a great embodiment of those principles, finding self-love and empowerment by helping others and using gratitude. I'm pleased to welcome Walter Zajac. He is a highly respected psychic medium, an NLP practitioner, a Reiki Master, and author. Walter believes that we are on Earth to overcome challenges, experience contrast, to love, be happy, and to have fun. Walter, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thank you, Ralph. That was a fun introduction. We're having fun already. Yeah,
we're having fun already. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for being on the show. So tell me a little bit about your story. You've written a book. It's a very interesting book. You can certainly tell us about that, but in your own words and kind of the Reader's Digest version of your life, what went into the forming of who you are today?
I've had psychic experiences since my earliest memories at 5 years old, even 4 years old. I had two imaginary friends from my childhood who actually became real women in my life when I was 44. These imaginary friends were the only things that I was allowed to take with me when I was sent to an orphanage at 6 years old because my mom was dying. And so that experience of being sent to an orphanage and already having these imaginary friends, because the physical reality was just completely unbearable and unbelievable for me. I didn't know I was going to an orphanage. I just ended up at this place. And as a result, I lived and turned to the psychic world for comfort. And I was already familiar with it. My understanding is that all of us, and in the first 5 years of our lives, we're still very much in tune with the spirit world, the psychic world that we came from before this physical life. And so we have wisdom and we have powers and skills that we lose after that because our parents and society drums that out of us. When I met these two imaginary friends in real life, I was able to tell each of them 4 to 5 things that they had never shared with another human. And these were things that I had known and seen repeatedly and in detail over and over ever since I was 5. And so that caused me to realize that, oh man, I need some help. I don't know how to deal with this. My friends had been telling me I need some help for a long time, and I didn't want to believe it. My experience was, I got this. I'm pretty sure I'm a little bit psychic, right? But then when I finally sought out a psychologist, the first thing she said was, no, you're not crazy. you are psychic and you turn to that in order to survive, in order to find your power, in order to find a place of peace and understanding, and ultimately finding myself. And like you mentioned, like most of my clients, actually, I experienced abandonment, being sent to an orphanage, right? I experienced emotional abuse from the people I was adopted. I experienced physical abuse and sexual abuse as a child. And those things motivated me to first learn how to overcome that in myself. And then in that process, I gained effective and powerful skills, which I use to help others overcome those very things and find their own power. My book you mentioned, it's called They Came Beyond Deja Vu. And I'm getting really good reviews and results. And my intention is to have it turned into a television miniseries.
Ah, very exciting. So the name of the book is They Came Beyond Deja Vu. And that tells your story in greater detail.
Yes. Yep. And then how I got started doing this, I've had this business for 22 years now, full time.
Well, tell us a little bit about that, because I think that you have beaten the odds, and most of the people listening to me now have beaten the odds. Most people, number one, they never find healing. They never come out of the thing that they experience, and so that's the majority. Far fewer are able to then come out of that, but then turn it around in such a way that they're helping others to get free of the very same things that they experience. You were able to do that and turn it into a business, and that's what this program is about: how to design the business you need so you can live the life you want. And the greatest business you could have is a business where you are helping other people. That is your passion, the thing that you're gifted in, the thing that you're good at, and then the thing that you get to do whenever you want to do and earn a living from it. And I think that is another skill set altogether. But tell us a little bit about that transition from figuring out who you are and what your gift is, and then turning that into something that you can earn a living with and that you've been doing successfully for more than 2 decades.
I actually had a 28-year career as a drummer, musician. And then after that, I was doing various day jobs, as we musicians call it. And the last one was in insurance. And I was lost. As a musician, that was my world. That was where I found comfort. It's where I found refuge. It's where I found peace. It's where I found self-confidence. I could be a god behind the drum set. I played for thousands of people at a time. And I had confidence. But the moment that I got off the drum set and tried to be in a social situation, I was a mess. And
I can relate to the second half of that. I can't relate to playing drums, but I can relate to doing the thing that you do, but then you step out of that environment and then it's like, I don't know how to do anything else but this.
Yeah. And I had a girlfriend at the time who, as a birthday present, bought me an hour-long session with a psychic. And I had never been to a psychic. I wasn't even sure if I believed it. But this woman had credibility. She was very good. And during the session, she told me, "Oh, my God, you have so much psychic ability and you need to be doing this for a living because you can help people so much because of what I have learned." Right. And that was the first time I ever considered it. My dream at the time was to become a composer, a film composer in Los Angeles. I didn't want to become a psychic full time. Are you kidding? And then even the whole concept of psychic full time, so many people on the planet think that's a lot of crap anyway, right? That they just don't believe in psychics in the first place. And then sadly, just like other professions out there are psychics out there who have no moral compass, who don't necessarily serve the people and really serve only themselves. And this lady that I met, the psychic, she and I hit it off, and we stayed in touch. And she encouraged me to start my business as a psychic, and I did part-time. And once I started doing that, I realized, wow, this is fulfilling. It's fulfilling because people really relate to how I can help. And I realized that, oh yeah, when I tune in as a psychic, I'm pretty accurate. So it was like a revelation of skills that I had that I didn't really understand or didn't really accept completely. And then the whole concept of accepting that, yeah, okay, dude, I don't think you're going to be a film composer. And here you go. Here's the next thing. Let's try this. Right. And like I said, I've been doing it 22 years full time, and it's amazingly fulfilling and satisfying to be able to help people. My brand online is the Empowerment Psychic, and I really do help clients find their power, find their happiness, and find the ability to genuinely love themselves.
It's a powerful alignment when you can align your mess with your message, and then find the gift and the passion to be able to turn that into a business. Once all those things line up, it's a pretty potent and powerful combination. And I would suggest that is the secret to any business success. And also to life success, life happiness. But tell us a little bit about the difference between a psychic versus a psychologist. They both have the same root, don't they? Psyche, the mind.
Yeah.
But one is vastly different from the other. And for people who maybe have a negative or not necessarily negative, but they just aren't sure of the reality of what it is that you do and how it helps people, what's a simple way that you could describe what you do that helps to make sense in terms of the gift that you're using?
Thank you. Psychologist usually has at least a master's degree in psychology, and they use all of those skills and techniques to help people with small problems as well as really big problems. I am an NLP practitioner. That stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It's a branch of psychology that was developed in the early 1970s, and it's been around and been very successful, useful ever since. Some people say that it's as effective as hypnosis. And these NLP includes techniques to help people overcome things such as self-doubt, to see their own strengths and learn how to use them, and to tune into their 5-year-old self to see how very beautiful and lovable and wise they were. And like I mentioned, still connected to the psychic world where they came from. I help clients have better relationships with partners, with relatives, with coworkers and bosses by tuning in as a psychic to their own needs and perceptions and habits, as well as those of the people in these relationships. And then I give my clients specific ways and techniques to make those relationships better. The psychologist does similar things, but is able to more than likely handle bigger issues. The standard psychologist is in a position where the help that they give to a client can take years. And in my case, and actually in the case of the psychologist that I went to, she was a psychic, not working professionally as a psychic. She was the daughter of a Toltec shaman and just grew up with psychic awareness and other realities. And she was able to see things so very quickly and guide me to the things that I needed to express and understand and relive in order to heal. And that's what I do with my clients. As a psychic, I'm able to tune into what they need and what the people that they're relating to need. And so the progress moves much faster because I'm able to use my psychic abilities. My clients are usually people who have a lot of talent and skills and education, sometimes PhDs, often master's degrees, and people who have some success but find it very difficult to present that success and these skills and talents to the world with confidence. And I bring them that confidence and that self-love, which leads to their success in all aspects of their lives, which then includes business.
That's pretty powerful. And it's interesting to me how we all have pretty much the same, not the same experiences by any means, but we all have the same needs in terms of, and obstacles in terms of confidence and knowing who I really am and knowing what my gift is, knowing what my purpose is. And your approach addresses those issues on one level. My approach is to help people master their message and figure out what they have to say, how to say it well, and how to say it often. And to turn, by learning to articulate a vision and a purpose, that gives them confidence. So we all have these different approaches and different modalities, and how wonderful that there's such a variety of ways that we can all achieve the things that we're trying to achieve in different modalities, different specialties that we can utilize as tools. The way you approach things is different from the way I approach them and the way someone else does, and that's exactly what we need, everyone working together. What would you say is the biggest problem? I mean, we mentioned confidence, and maybe that's the biggest problem, or maybe that's just a symptom of a deeper issue. But what would you say is the most common problem you see with the people that you're trying to help? What are people struggling with the most?
I would say not believing in themselves, not seeing themselves as worthy, not able to put themselves first, not genuinely loving themselves, and not able to really find the success or enjoy the success in most areas of their lives. I have an example of that. My client, who I'm going to call Dave, it's not his real name, he was a student body president at an Ivy League university. He was senior class president at his high school. Dave is a CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, which is way above the CPA. He's been working on Wall Street for years, but not achieving the success that he wants. He was in a very abusive marriage for 6 years where he felt stuck and not able to assert his rights. And he was emotionally abused and emotionally abandoned by his parents growing up. And his parents required that he be successful in order to be accepted and loved by them. But Dave never found his happiness, right? He accomplished these things, but he couldn't own them and couldn't really see the how amazing it was that he achieved these things, and definitely couldn't see how beautiful he was as a child and actually still is. And I helped Dave see and own those achievements. I helped him realize his parents were wrong and that he actually was abused. He never saw it that way. And today, Dave is finally able to put himself first. He'd always put other people's needs well above his own, like the wife and the parents and the bosses and the friends, right? And one of the questions that I pose to Dave over and over in our sessions is, what about Dave? What about Dave? You're putting everybody else first. What about Dave, who's taking care of him, right?
Yeah.
And he had never considered that before. He just felt that it was his duty to put other people first. And Dave now has a close relationship with his mother. He's even living with her temporarily and helping her out. And he never had a close relationship with her before. They fought and argued, and it got pretty ugly when they fought. And Dave got out of that abusive marriage about a year ago. He has a new job on Wall Street that gives him a much higher salary than he's ever had before, and it puts him in a position of authority because he's now able to truly own how good he is, and he is respected and valued at work in ways that he had never experienced before.
Powerful. What is it like to be in Dave's shoes, and he comes in and this is what he presents with? What is a process that you would take somebody like Dave through to get them from where they are to where they want to be? And maybe some kind of a self-help thing. It's not going to replace you because you are you and you do what you do. But what is a kind of a self-help thing you would recommend for people that can begin to address those issues until they can get the help that they need on a deeper level?
Mm-hmm. Something that I emphasize in my life, it's one of the ways that I have found my own happiness, it's a quote from an American poet from the middle of the 1800s, a guy named Elbert Hubbard. He said, "Don't take life too seriously. You'll never get out of it alive." And to me, that's funny. But to me, the message is, do it now. Do it now. We're all dying, right? And if we take life too seriously, taking life seriously and worrying about problems and being overwhelmed, it closes our hearts. And as a result, we're not able to really see the truth of who we are and how we can improve our lives. One of the things that I do as a psychic medium is I connect people to deceased loved ones. And I always, first of all, prove to the client that it really is Uncle Bob, for instance, by asking Uncle Bob for 3 things that connect them. And I don't even go on until the client really believes that I'm connecting with Uncle Bob. And the reason I say that is consistently, every time I do that, the message from the deceased loved one is, life is too short, too short. I didn't love enough. I didn't show it. I didn't say it. I didn't spend enough time with you. I didn't have enough fun. And there's no way to make up for that after they've died.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we do that? First of all, this moment is all we ever have. You know, Einstein proved that there is actually no time, and yet we seem to be in an agreement that we live one moment at a time. But the reality is the only time we actually have power or choices is this moment. I am not really able to take my power for 2:30 tomorrow afternoon until 2:30 tomorrow afternoon is now, right? And so what I have found is that, first of all, the easiest way for me to have fun at any given moment is gratitude. Gratitude for anything. Gratitude is an antidote to emotional pain and to fear. And it's a way to forgive, to just be grateful for anything about that person if they have wronged you some way. And then helping people love themselves. This is something that one can do immediately on their own without consulting anybody, and that is internal dialogue. You know, we're always talking to ourselves, and I would say most of us have a tendency to put ourselves down when we talk to ourselves, say awful things about our parents, and usually those negative things not about our parents, that came from our parents about ourselves is what I'm trying to say. And so we're continuing the same stuff that we were told over and over and over. And what I recommend is, no, in this self-talk, this internal dialogue, talk to yourself like you would to your best friend. you would never bring up negative stuff about your best friend unless you're wanting to start a fight, right? When you talk to your best friend, you're supportive and you're loving and you bring out all of their wonderful qualities. Do that for yourself in your internal dialogue. If you've just done something wonderful, make note of it and say, wow, Walter, that was good, baby. Right on. And then see yourself as this 5-year-old, because that 5-year-old still exists. And that 5-year-old was, for almost all of us, precious, innocent, loving, spiritual, and wanted more than anything just to be loved. And another thing to do is to go to the mirror, and people say this, that we should do it. We should look at our eyes in the mirror and say, I love you, Walter. But I found that incredibly difficult, if not impossible to do. And most of my clients seem to find that impossible. But the secret that I found was when I see 5-year-old Walter's eyes in the mirror, I love him automatically because he's beautiful. He's beautiful, right? And so then it's easy for me to say, I love you, Walter. And so I've nurtured an ongoing relationship with my 5-year-old. I talk to him, I listen to him, and we have fun. And, Teachings of Don Juan by Carlos Castaneda, one of my favorite quotes from that book is that you can choose to enjoy and be happy, or you can choose to be miserable. Both take the same amount of power. And so many of us literally, subconsciously, even consciously choose to be miserable because we don't see ourselves as beautiful or worthy. And it takes the same amount of energy to see ourselves as beautiful and enjoy life. Wow.
Powerful principles and some great wisdom and tools there that anyone can take and apply. Especially the now. I've really been considering here lately the importance of now. You can't change the past. Worrying about the future doesn't help. And really all you have is right now. And that's just that is powerful. So when people want to work with you, how do you work with people? What does that process look like?
Interestingly, when I have a new client in our first session, the first thing that I do is I tune in and meditate about 15 minutes before I call them. And in that meditation, I tune into the 7 layers of their aura, each of which correspond to a different aspect of their personality, like health and body and emotions and relationships and finance and life purpose, and how do other people see themselves. And with this information, always, I am establishing credibility. If I'm giving this person 7 areas of their life that reflect the truth of what they actually live, then they believe in me, right? And so then any question that I answer after that is going to have credibility. And then that also really helps them understand the answers to the questions, because reading those 7 layers of their aura, giving them information about themselves, and that includes their childhood, what kind of a childhood they had and how it affected them, then it really helps them to understand the answers to the question, and specifically helps them to find ways to overcome those things in order to, first of all, be aware of their limitations, and then secondly, to be aware of their strengths and how to use them.
Very powerful.
And that's the well, thank you. Good word. That's the empowerment part, right? Helping people find their strengths and find their own beauty and find self-love, which really for all of us, I think that's one of the biggest problems out there is, I don't know how to love myself. How do you do that? I want other people to love me. Hey, right?
Which you really can't control.
Yes, we try, but usually we can't.
Yeah. This has been very eye-opening and meeting a need that is in a lot of people's lives, and some listening may be saying, what's this got to do with building my business? Well, it has everything to do with it, because you bring all of your baggage into your business, especially if you are a rebelpreneur or solopreneur or an entrepreneur. You bring all of the hurt, all of the pain, all of the past into your business, and that is affecting your success. It is affecting your profitability. It's affecting your happiness. It's affecting your relationships. And so getting yourself to a place of healing is going to absolutely heal your business and heal everything that you touch and everything that you're working on. So the website, if you want to check it out, is psychicwalter.com. You can get in touch and see everything that's going on. And tell me more about anything that you're working on right now that's got you really excited. You mentioned trying to get the movie, right?
Thank you. That does. Yeah. I'm networking and meeting producers, directors, and people in the business, and having a lot of fun with that. But the thing that's got me really excited is there was, she's died a few years ago, a lady named Dolores Cannon, who for about 40 years used hypnosis to have people remember their past lives. And that's something that very many people find just incredibly fascinating, and it's one of the most sought after services. And through hypnosis, a person actually recognizes themselves. Without hypnosis, just tuning into, a past life without the hypnosis, if I were doing that, there's no way to prove to them that the past life I'm seeing is actually their past life. Mm-hmm. But if they're seeing it under hypnosis, it's absolutely their past life. I don't need to prove to them. And it's incredibly helpful for a person to really understand themselves and to understand why maybe the little quirks that they have wouldn't necessarily have come from this life, but from experience in a past life. And so in a few weeks, I'm starting a course on how to become a hypnotist in order to specifically help people uncover their past lives. And that's exciting to me, very exciting.
Powerful stuff. Well, Walter, our time is just about up, but I wanted to ask if you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you would like to leave with our listeners.
I do. I've already mentioned it, that when I talk to deceased loved ones, the main complaint they have is life is too short, didn't love enough, and didn't have enough fun, didn't spend enough time with you, didn't say I love you, and that there's no way to make up for that after they're dead. So my departing words of wisdom are, all we have is this moment, like we've already talked about. If you want to be happy, experience love, and have fun, do it now. Right now. Right? And then the thing that I emphasize in my own life and with my clients is love, and fun, right? That's, to me, that's happiness, right? And if we're doing that now, if we're doing that every now, wow, we're happy.
Yeah. Powerful words of wisdom from Walter Zajac. He is a highly respected psychic medium, NLP practitioner, Reiki Master, and author. You can check him out at psychicwalter.com and in all the major social media networks as well. Walter, thank you so much for being on Rebelpreneur Radio today. I really appreciate it.
I had a good time, Ralph. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.